Emmy-nominated American Morning, CNN, weekdays 6 Eastern.
Some political watchers are saying this could be the nastiest, most negative election season of all time. Many voters will tell you they are not swayed by the ads, but there's little doubt that they do have an impact. And there are key races to already keep an eye on. Joining us now live from Washington this morning is political media analyst Evan Tracy. Evan, we hear this almost every election cycle that this is going to be the nastiest one ever. But you're saying, no, really, this time it's true.
Yeah, it is, John. It's one of these elections right now where there's an awful lot of voter anger out there. And if what we've seen so far is any indication, about a third of all political advertising has been negative already this year. And this is a time usually reserved for those biographical spots and positive, warm, and fuzzy stuff. So this is not going to be a fall for the faint of heart.
Yeah, you know, in politics, defining your opponent is always the key. And they're certainly trying hard in the state of Colorado, where there's a particularly nasty Democratic race going on between Andrew Romanoff, who's actually being supported by former President Clinton, and the current Senator Michael Bennet. Let's take a quick look at a couple of comparison ads here, and then we'll get you to talk about them.
Newspapers uncover the truth about Michael Bennet. Bennet worked for right-wing billionaire Phil Anschutz. In a corporate takeover, they pushed companies into bankruptcy and looted $1 billion. Workers lost their jobs. Bennet made $11 million. One paper called Bennett's corporate raid a real-life version of the movie Wall Street.
Have you seen Andrew Romanoff's ads about PAC money? Take a listen.
I don't take a dime of their money.
Oh, really? Career politician Romanoff's been taking PAC money for almost 10 years.
Andrew Romanoff, the challenger, Bennet, of course, the incumbent. It's really a departure, Evan, for Bennet, who has avoided doing this in the past. Is this kind of a case where you got to fight fire with fire?
Yeah, absolutely. He was targeted in this race, and, Wall Street is a bad word. Money is a bad word in this election. And what you're seeing in this particular Democratic primary is that the candidates themselves are trying to run as the challenger. And this is harder for Bennet, even though he's an appointed senator. He's really trying to position himself as outside of Washington, not part of the problem, part of the solution. And Romanoff is really trying to put that right back onto Bennet.
And the Republican primary in the state of Colorado is even more nasty. Jane Norton against Ken Buck. Buck himself has refrained from doing the negative ads. They're coming from outside organizations like Americans for Job Security. Let's do a little comparison here, and then we'll get you to talk about it.
Liberal politicians will say anything, but talk is cheap. Take Jane Norton.
The federal government is overspending, it's overtaxing, it's overregulating.
But wait, what's the real Norton record? Norton pushed the largest tax hike in Colorado history.
Ken Buck is attacking Jane Norton. What's he saying? You might be surprised. Here's Ken Buck caught on tape.
Why should we vote for you?
Why should you vote for me? Because I do not wear high heels.
Play that again.
Why should you vote for me? Because I do not wear.
Don't wear high heels. That could be taken by some people to be more than a little bit sexist. But Buck's strategy, Evan, of letting outside groups do the dirty work here, obviously it gives him plausible deniability. He can say, I have never run a negative ad against my opponent. But do voters really get that difference?
Sure. This is the classic good cop, bad cop, where Ken Buck is really relying on these groups to basically do his dirty work for him. It's tough to say. Voters generally associate the ads with the candidates they're supporting or the candidates they're opposing. So a lot of times voters don't differentiate between the two. And then you see in the Norton ad there, this is really sort of the Macaca moment 2010. And so I think that this race right now is going to look like a lot of races are going to look this fall. We have the Citizens United case, which is going to put a lot more group money into these races. And really the charter of any third-party group or issue group is to run a bunch of negative ads. So that's going to add a lot more fuel to the fire this fall.
Could be a historic level of mudslinging, as you suggested at the top. So this, again, is all part of the demonstration that politics really has become a zero-sum game. And while it might be good for the candidates, because negative ads, as distasteful as they are, do work, is it good for the country?
Well, the negative ads tend to be more truthful in some cases than positive ads, because when you run a negative ad, you really need to be right on the facts, or that ad's going to boomerang right back to you. Obviously, we're in a country right now where there's a lot of anxiety with voters, the economy, jobs, the bailouts, health care. So a lot of these issues are going to be in play this fall, and I don't think candidates are really going to wait around and run a bunch of warm and fuzzy spots. They're really going to go hard at these issues, and they're going to go hard at their opponents.